What was that sound? Oh, that was a sound to signal that me, the host, Ashley, is going to talk to you about something. It also signals when my commentary is finished. We aren't only going to look at how the environment will be affected, but its communities and surrounding wildlife as well, not to mention the potential economic impact Pebble Mine will have in the surrounding region. We will meet representatives from all sides: Pebble Mine Partnership, the EPA, Native Alaskans representative, and a representative from the Salmon Fishery. Please join me and enjoy the ride learning about Bristol Bay.
Hello, my name is Eric and I'll be the representative for Pebble Mine Corporation. There are many mining interests in Alaska. Some of the ores that are available in Alaska are gold, silver, copper, zinc, and lead. Alaska has 5 major metal mines in operation: Red Dog Zinc Lead Mine, Fort Knox Gold Mine, Bogo Gold Mine, Kensington Gold Mine, and Green Creek Silver Mine. Annually, they produce over 30 million tons of ore combined.
30 million tons of ore. To put that into perspective, this is one of the Great Pyramids, and it weighs 6.5 million tons. You'd need 5 times that amount to match that ore production level. It really makes you wonder how much waste is being produced to get this 30 million tons of ore.
The yellow shows the abandoned prospects, the red are active prospects, and the blue are operational. From the 5 operating mines in Alaska, Alaska's mining sector has earned them nearly $15 billion in 2019 for their GDP. That's about 20% of their GDP.
Okay, so it looks like there's a good mix of abandoned mines and active prospects with a few operating mines. So what do the numbers look like for jobs that will be brought to the Bristol Bay region?
So, if approved, Pebble Mine will be able to provide 750 to 1,000 direct jobs to Alaskans, and overall 1,500 to 2,000 jobs. So, not only that, but approving Pebble Mine will also increase the chance for the GDP to be raised, because other active prospects will be able to become operational like Pebble Mine. However, it will be an open pit mine, as the deposit is located in the Centenary Basin, known as the Kalinita terrain. The minerals can be found in veins and within the granite-like rocks and wall rocks throughout the deposit. In fact, the west portion of the deposit is partially exposed to the surface, which may have led to it becoming an open pit mine, while the east is concealed beneath younger volcanic and sedimentary rock. Pebble Mine will be able to give approximately 1.5 billion tons of material over 20 years. The mining rate will be up to 75 million tons a year, with a milling rate of 66 million tons a year. They'll provide an annual copper and gold concentrate production of 660 tons and molybdenum concentrate production of 16,500 tons a year. For those who don't know what molybdenum is used for, it varies from electrical filaments to making missile and aircraft parts, or used in nuclear power industry. However, it's primarily used as an alloy agent in steel.
Wow, lots of jobs and lots of materials that everyone needs. What do the minerals in the region consist of?
Will have the ores typically containing less than 1% copper by value, as it will be sprinkled throughout the rock like fine grains of sand. The deposit will have an endowment of 80.6 billion pounds of copper 5.6 million pounds of molybdenum, and 107.4 million ounces of gold. Here's how the mining process will be. It starts here. Run of the mine is material, and then it's primarily crushed, then it becomes coarse ore, it becomes stockpiled, then it goes into a semi-autogenous grinding mill, then it'll be turned into a ball mill, and it'll undergo a bulk roll for flotation. The tails will be piled up here, then it undergoes regrinding again, then it enters a cleaner flotation, which will leave the pyritic tails over here, deposits, and then the ores itself will go into a bulk concentrate thickening, then transfers here to the separation flotation where the copper and gold molybdenum are separated. The copper and gold concentrate will be thickened and filtered over here, while the bottom will be concentrated thickening over here. Then it's placed into bulk shipping containers or bags of shipping containers. Then it will be transferred to the port. To hold all of this, the mining facilities will cover 5.3 square miles on Alaskan state land, and there will be segregated storage of bulk and periodic tailings. There won't be a post-closure periodic tailings facility, however. The facilities will require a gas pipeline from Anchor Point and a gas-fired power plant at site. There will also be a road and lake ferry to Cook Inlet. The transportation corridor will look like this. The access road would be 65% of Alaska state land, 35% of the Alaska Peninsula Corporation. The Iliamna Airport Store will be 55% of Alaska state land and 45% of the natives Limited. The crossing of the Iliamna Lake will be 100% of the state of Alaska and 100% of the Alaska Peninsula Corporation for the Kokonak Airport Store. And here's another lake travel to the port site. That is Pebble Limited Corporation. Thank you.
What an interesting and detailed presentation from Pebble Mine Limited. Let's go ahead and look at the other side of the argument. Take it away, Emily.
Hi, my name is Emily Castillo, and I represent the interests of the Native Alaskans of Bristol Bay. Bristol Bay is where 25 tribal communities call home. Native peoples in this region have upheld a subsistence-based lifestyle for generations. With the proposed mine being introduced into the Bristol Bay watershed, many changes would occur into the lives of the people that live here. One of the most substantial aspects of life that could be impacted by the mine is the commercial fishing industry in the region. Bristol Bay is a spawning ground for sockeye salmon. These salmon serve as an integral part of the culture of the Native Alaskan people. Many individuals in this region fish as their primary source of income. Also, these salmon are a staple in many people's diets, as well as holding a great cultural and even spiritual significance for these people. If the mine were to disturb the spawning grounds of these salmon, their population would inevitably decline. This is a major concern for the people of this region, because it could leave many of them jobless and without food on the table. It is also important to note that the salmon industry globally has become very unsustainable. And the Yupik and Dena'ina tribes of Bristol Bay are the last two cultures that rely on sustainable salmon fishing in the whole world, which could be threatened by the introduction of the mine. Besides the fishing industry, tourism plays an influential role in the economy in the Bristol Bay region. Many tourists travel here to take in the gorgeous scenery, observe native wildlife, and learn the cultural norms of the native peoples. So if this area were turned into a mining community, it would likely lose a lot of that appeal that it holds, causing a reduction in rates of tourism here. Another concern the Bristol Bay community has about the potential mine is the amount of large truck traffic it may cause. Larger amounts of truck traffic lead to more car accidents and even deaths, not to mention that the material carried in the trucks coming to and from the mine could be hazardous to people's health and to the health of the environment. So if a truck were to crash and this material were to leach out, it would be a major threat to public health in the region. Another extremely concerning aspect of the proposed mine is the potential for a tailings dam failure. With a mining project of this size, the tailings will not be able to simply just be removed. They must be stored in a dam. A dam collapse would result in a flood of toxic material that could wreak havoc on the health of the native people and wildlife, as well as potentially poison the water supply and soil in the region. There are many potential risks to a mining project such as this. However, there is also the possibility of it bringing economic prosperity to the region. There is a desire for economic expansion in Bristol Bay, and some natives believe that this proposed dam would be a great way to do that, while others think that the risks of the mine poses to their way of life is simply not worth it. Even with this division in viewpoints, however, almost all Native Alaskans can agree that they would like to know more about the possible effects of mining in the place they call home.
Thank you, Emily, for giving us insight on the Native Alaskan people and their culture and their viewpoint about Pebble Mine. It's always interesting to see a variety of viewpoints in a subject like this. Let's go ahead and move on to what the EPA has to say. And welcome. I'm glad you're here. I am Ashley, the representative for the EPA of Bristol Bay. I want to talk to you about what some of the impacts might be on other wildlife in the region. So the wildlife that depend on the salmon for food would go without. There would be a fluctuation of population since the reliable food source the animals have come to know for many years would be gone or greatly diminished, leading to more competition in the region. From bald eagles to beluga whales, from insects to trees, from the many generation fishing family to the cooked salmon on your plate, everything and everyone would be affected. Hello again. I wanted to show you an illustration showing how connected the environment is and how the humans and animals who reside in Bristol Bay rely on each other and the salmon. This next photo is a basic outline of the salmon life cycle. It's important to note that the process is not as fast as you may think. It takes years for these vibrant red fish to develop and get ready for the infamous run of their lives. I would like to also explain the health impacts of arsenic leachate. Obviously, in large doses, arsenic is used as a poison and is deadly, but in small doses over a long period of time, it can be just as dangerous. Some possible conditions are skin lesions, cancer, cardiovascular disease, and diabetes. In pregnancy and early childhood, it has been linked to brain development issues and early death. The extreme increase in truck traffic would also be a major concern, as Emily already mentioned. Traffic could lead to increased air pollution and worsened safety conditions on remote roads, such as heavy industrial air pollution. Such heavy industrial air pollution has been associated with pulmonary and cardiac issues and disease. Noise pollution from the traffic could impact not only the mental health of residents, but impact the migratory patterns of local wildlife. Bristol Bay, as it is today, is a rare sight. It is a pure, nearly untouched environment with sustainable habitats and breathtaking scenery. Currently, there is a perfect balance between the natural environment and the humans in the area who depends on the salmon. This sustainable resource could continue indefinitely, but is being threatened by potential access to a non-sustainable resource. Traditional subsistence lifestyles, the fishing industry, and the tourism industry are all put at risk. The salmon are especially sensitive to toxic byproducts that are an inevitable consequence of open pit mining. Even a slight change in water parameters due to dissolved metals and waste can interfere with their natural breeding instincts that are so crucial to their survival. These salmon are a foundation of the local ecosystem, and through the food web, they support bears, wolves, moose, caribou, and waterfowl. There will be waste leakage from transportation, evaporation, and aerosolized dust, even with a dam in place, but the potential for catastrophic dam failure only raises the stakes. What are some of the ramifications of a dam failure? First, let's understand the dams. Each year, Pebble Mine will produce billions of tons of tailings into 2 large containment ponds built directly on top of streams, ponds, and wetlands. Second, the larger pond will be held back by 3 large earthen dams, each one larger than the Three Gorges Dam in China, the world's largest concrete dam. Each pond will contain a toxic lake of waste slurry that is several hundred feet deep. Third, Alaska is a very seismically active area and frequently experiences magnitude 6 to 7 earthquakes. Fourth, a dam failure, even many decades in the future, would be an environmental disaster, spilling waste over the pristine environment. What is the lifetime of the proposed Pebble Mine Dam? The dams have been analyzed for a lifespan of approximately 20 years, but may need to hold for over 100 years, which is almost impossible to predict. In past mines throughout the US and the world, dam analysis is often incorrect or insufficient, and many failures have occurred with the companies assured it would be safe and met all the official criteria. Thank you for that informative and fantastic presentation, EPA. Let's move on to our final representative for the salmon fishery.
Bristol Bay, Alaska is one of the oldest and biggest fisheries in the world. Its first recorded catch of salmon was in 1884 and exceeded over 1 million salmon every year after 1893. Become a popular place for commercial and sport fishing with economic benefits, with over 100 sport fishing businesses, and 2/3 of our nation's seafood is caught at Bristol Bay, including over 40 million sockeye salmon. This creates jobs throughout the country in restaurants and grocery stores throughout the US. It is also one of the last places to catch sockeye salmon. Its Pebble Mine sits between 2 major rivers that produce the most salmon. The rivers can become polluted with mercury contamination, copper, and acid mine drainage. The land would lose about 80 miles of wet streams and 3,500 acres of wetland, hurting wildlife habitats. The runoff of Pebble Mine can contaminate water supply, which can cause death to wildlife, along with genetic mutations to their offspring. Will disrupt the environment and change the habitat of wildlife. It can become dangerous to our health by eating seafood that is from polluted waters, causing the price of seafood to rise and the possibility of some fish to become extinct. Fishing at Bristol Bay is a renewable source and has sustained itself for over 100 years. If plans for Pebble Mine go forward as it's a non-renewable source, it'll have a negative impact on Alaska.
Wow, what eye-opening information. Thank you so much, Roseanne. And it looks like you made it as well. Thank you for taking this journey with us, learning about Bristol Bay and the effect Pebble Mine will have on the region. Bye-bye.